Chapter 301. In order to obtain more corpse path spiritual materials, Songwon captured 4 more second-tier human snakes. At this point, he had a total of 7 second-tier human snakes in his possession. Most of the second-tier human snakes in the Serpent Cave were now under his control. To distinguish them conveniently, he assigned numbers to the human snakes. The first human snake was the one that had already merged its essence energy a few days ago. Songwon performed another corpse refining on it. The first human snake had undergone corpse refining 11 times. The other human snakes had undergone corpse refining 1 to 2 times each. To outsiders, each corpse refining session took about 3 to 4 days. Additionally, after each corpse refining, the recovery time for the human snakes was roughly between 20 days to a month. This led outsiders to mistakenly believe that Songwon was almost refining the human snake corpses non-stop. In reality, the time Songwon needed for each corpse refining session was about 1 day. Most of his time was still spent following his cultivation habits, refining and consuming blood spirit pills to enhance his cultivation. At the same time, he didn't neglect his practice of alchemy. Whenever he had free time, he would also try to refine new second-tier pills. 7 days later, Songwon encountered Zhou Si in the Serpent Cave. Junior Brother Wu, something has happened at Sui Mountain. What could happen at Sui Mountain? That place is located deep within the sect. Could Blood Sui have undergone a mutation? Songwon asked curiously. His 2 sacred gu were still in the Sui Mountain formation, and hearing Zhou Si mention Sui Mountain, Songwon was eager to know the situation there. My father and Ting Jingshan tried to capture the Blood Kue beast, but they failed. How could they fail? Haven't they successfully captured over a dozen Blood Kue beasts in the past 1,000 years? How could this time be a failure? Zhou Si replied, my father said they didn't even see the Blood Kue beast's face. They used a large amount of blood food to feed Blood Sui, after which Blood Sui fell into a deep sleep. They thought this was a sign of Blood Sui nurturing the Blood Kue beast. However, what they didn't anticipate was that they waited in the formation for a full 5 days. By then, Blood Sui had awakened again but still showed no sign of the Blood Kue beast. The Blood Kue beast is extremely important to the sect. Failing to capture it has left my father and Tung Jingshan very frustrated. Songwon said, isn't it true that the sect has captured over a dozen Blood Kue beasts before? Losing one shouldn't have a significant impact, right? Zhou Si responded, these dozens or so Blood Kue beasts were captured over the past 1,000 years. The Blood Kue beast can die. Currently, there are only 3 surviving in the sect. I see. Songwon acknowledged. After a moment of silence, he continued to ask, since Blood Sui has awakened again, does it still need to continue feeding? Of course, it does. Moreover, because it is nurturing the Blood Kue beast, Blood Sui's appetite has increased. Upon hearing this, Songwon nodded and ceased further questioning. Since Blood Sui needed to be fed continuously, there would be a large number of flying ships coming and going every day, providing the sacred gu with an opportunity to escape the formation. 2 days later, as Songwon had anticipated, the 2 sacred gu crawled into his cave dwelling. The state of the sacred gu was quite strange. Their strength had slightly increased, and they appeared to be stuffed, even struggling to fly. The 2 bugs crawled all the way to the cave. They also emitted a peculiar aura. This aura was very faint, containing a sense of ethereal grandeur as well as a chaotic and corrupted evil sensation. What exactly did the sacred gu consume inside Blood Sui that endowed them with this strange aura? What kind of being is Blood Sui? Why does it have this peculiar aura, and why must it consume the blood and flesh of living people to survive? Songwon had many questions in his heart, but as long as the sacred gu returned alive, it was ultimately a good thing. He stored the sacred gu away and continued his closed-door cultivation. Junior Brother Wu, are you there? A few days later, while Songwon was cultivating, he suddenly heard Zhou Si's voice outside the cave. Songwon ended his practice, stood up, and opened the cave's restrictions. Senior Sister Zhou, is there something you need from me? Zhou Si looked disheartened, her face filled with anger. I failed again at refining the human snake corpse. I had successfully done it 5 times before, and if I succeeded this time, it should have shown initial signs of the fusion of corpse energy and life energy. But unexpectedly. Sigh. After a long sigh, she continued. What's more frustrating is that the human snake was eroded by corpse energy and died. All my previous efforts went to waste, a total loss. I chose a human snake corpse at the 8th level of chi refinement, which should have been easier to refine than a second-tier human snake. It seems I really have no talent for corpse refining. Seeing Zhou wallowing in self-pity, Song-Wen could only speak up to comfort her with a few kind words. After a moment, Song-Wen shifted the topic and asked, "Senior sister, have you come to see me for something else in the past few days?" Zhou reined in her emotions and spoke. "Based on my analysis, the reason I have been failing in corpse refining repeatedly is primarily due to my lack of understanding of the corpse refining techniques. I have only seen the set of corpse refining secret techniques in the Serpent Cave. Perhaps if I observe a few more corpse refining techniques and learn from various sources, I could quickly improve my skills in corpse refining. I've heard that not far from East Huafeng Market, there's a ghost market that sells various magical secret techniques. I want to go take a look." Song-Wen asked, "Are you referring to the Mountain Stream Ghost Market?" TL. Previously simply translated as Ghost Market in Chapter 154. "Yeah, that's it. Have you been there?" Zhou face suddenly brightened with surprise. "Junior Brother Wu, could you take me there? I'm worried I won't be able to enter without a guide." Song-Wen shook his head. "I've never been there. I've just heard people mention it. It is said that the Mountain Stream Ghost Market is a chaotic place where snakes and dragons mix. Senior sister, it's better not to venture there lightly." Hearing that Song-Wen hadn't been there either, Zhou looked a bit disappointed. Then, with wide eyes full of anticipation, she looked at Song-Wen. "Junior Brother Wu, can you accompany me? I'm a bit scared to go alone." Having recently encountered Lan Chun in East Huafeng Market, Song-Wen was reluctant to easily leave the Beastmaster sect. After pondering for a moment, he found a suitable reason to refuse. "Sorry, senior sister. I need to manage the Serpent Cave and have 7 human snakes to refine. I really can't spare the time. You should find someone else to go with you." Zhou face fell. "But within the sect, the only friends I trust are you and Senior Brother Liu. Senior Brother Liu is out capturing living blood food for blood sway. I can only seek your help." Looking at Zhou pitiful expression, Song-Wen sighed deeply. "Senior sister, thank you for your trust, but it's truly inconvenient for me to go out. If you just want to buy some corpse techniques in the black market, you don't necessarily have to go in person. There are bound to be Foundation establishment cultivators within the sect who have dealings with people from the black market. You could ask around at the Alchemy Peak and Spirit Beast Peak to have them purchase the secret techniques for you." Chapter 302. Hearing that Song-Wen was unwilling to go to the black market, Zhou was extremely disappointed. "Since Junior Brother Wu can't conveniently go to the black market, I won't disturb you. I will consider your suggestions," she said after finishing her words. Zhou flew away on her sword Song-Wen turned and returned to the cave, continuing his cultivation. He didn't think much about what had just happened, unbeknownst to him. As Zhou flew on her sword, her expression gradually became extremely complicated, filled with worry. It was mixed with tension and fear. Moments later, she arrived at a cave located at the top of Spirit Beast Peak. She took out a token, circulated her spiritual energy to activate it, and easily passed through the cave's entrance restrictions. Entering the cave was vast, nearly 10 acres in size. Inside the cave, it was adorned luxuriously. The ground was paved with square pieces of first-tier spiritual material, jade stone. The 4 walls were decorated with dragons and phoenixes carved with various rare and exotic beasts. On the ceiling, 81 glowing pearls were embedded. Each pearl was the size of a human head. Made of second-tier spiritual material, night radiant stone, other items in the cave, such as beds, couches, low tables, and chairs, were also made from various spiritual ores or spiritual wood. In the center of the cave, Zhou Xuelin was sitting with closed eyes, cultivating. When Zhou entered the cave, Zhou Xuelin showed no reaction, not even lifting his eyelids. As she approached her father, there was no joy on Zhou's face at seeing him. Instead, the fear deepened. "Father, I failed in my task and couldn't persuade Wu Sheng to leave the sect." Zhou Xuelin's eyes suddenly opened wide, a cold gleam flashing in them, his voice as frigid as frost. "Useless trash. I've raised you for over 20 years and you can't even handle this small matter. Zhou Si trembled as she spoke. I don't know why, but Wu Xing adamantly refused to leave the sect. I tried everything to persuade him, but he wouldn't step out of the sect. Humph. Zhou Xuelin snorted coldly. Being incompetent means you're incompetent. Don't dare to make excuses. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his right hand and struck out with a palm. A gust of energy materialized out of thin air. Slap. The energy struck Zhou Si's face hard. She was sent flying. Her left cheek immediately swelled up, a bright red palm print appearing. Zhou Si fell to the ground, a trickle of blood oozing from the corner of her mouth, feeling the fiery pain on her face. A wave of grievance surged in her heart and tears filled her eyes in an instant. Tears rolled down her cheeks and fell to the ground. Seeing his daughter crying, Zhou Xuelin's anger grew even more. He stood up, his face filled with fury. His eyes blazing with rage. A couple of days ago, didn't you say you had gained Wu Xing's trust? You wanted him to accompany you to the ghost market, and he wouldn't even agree to that. Is this what you call trust? Crying. Besides crying, what else can you do, you useless thing? Just like your bitch of a mother, good for nothing, always causing trouble. You can't even handle a small matter. What use do you have? After your mother betrayed me, I should have fed you to the monsters. Zhou Xuelin roared in fury. In a fit of rage, he raised his hand again and slapped Zhou Si. This time it landed on her right cheek. Instantly, the formerly beautiful young girl's cheeks were swollen and her face was disfigured. Zhou Si fell to the ground. Curling up, her body trembling uncontrollably, she not only lacked the courage to resist but even the courage to cry out. She could only silently shed tears, quietly enduring. From childhood to now, she had suffered this kind of beating countless times. However, Zhou Xuelin showed no signs of stopping. His face was filled with violent rage, as if he had endless pent-up frustrations that needed to be released. Recently, Zhou Xuelin felt that everything was going wrong. First, the alchemy successfully fused the mystic qi, but on Spirit Beast Peak, there was no progress at all. Then, the once-in-a-century operation to capture the Blood Kue Beast also failed. He had prepared everything, and after successfully capturing it, the Blood Kue Beast would belong to him. What he had thought was a sure thing turned out to be a wasted effort. Zhou Xuelin walked up to Zhou Si, lifted his foot and kicked towards her lying on the ground. Just then, a voice came from outside the door. It was Tin Jingshan, the master of Spirit Beast Peak. Vice Peak Master Zhou, I have urgent matters to discuss with you. Hearing this, Zhou Xuelin's foot, which was about to kick Zhou Si's chest, abruptly stopped. He stared at Zhou Si, who was curled up on the ground, with an indifferent expression. Can't you get up? You need to heal the wounds on your face and put on a pitiful look for whom? After saying this, Zhou Xuelin turned and walked towards the cave entrance. His face breaking into a warm smile. Zhou Si, who had expected another beating, sat up, looked at her father walking toward the cave door, then lowered her head, took out a pill and swallowed it. She circulated her spiritual energy to refine the pill in an instant. Her swollen face returned to normal. The sorrowful expression on her face also faded away, making it impossible to see any signs of distress. The entire process was seamless, as if she had done it countless times before. Peak Master Tang, it's rare for you to visit my cave today. Please come in. Zhou Xuelin opened the cave's restrictions and warmly invited Tang Jingshan inside. Tang Jingshan entered the cave as instructed. As he saw Zhou Si in the cave, he exclaimed, "Oh, my niece Si is also here. Didn't you go to the Alchemy Peak's Serpent Cave today?" Zhou Si replied, "I haven't seen my father for many days and miss him a lot, so I came to see him." Tang Jingshan looked at Zhou Si, who appeared obedient, then turned to Zhou Xuelin with an envious expression. "Master Zhou, you have such a well-behaved and understanding daughter. It's truly enviable." Zhou Xuelin waved his hand, feigning modesty. "Peak Master Tang, you flatter me. This child has been spoiled by me, lacking proper etiquette, so please don't hold it against her." Then, he assumed the posture of a stern father and said to Zhou Si, "Why aren't you quickly making tea for Peak Master Tang? It's not often that he comes to my cave. We can't neglect him." Under Zhou Xuelin's guidance, Tang Jingshan took a seat. As he watched Zhou Si busy making tea, Tang Jingshan remarked with some sentiment, "Back then, after you and your partner separated, leaving behind such a young daughter, you raised her alone, in the blink of an eye, over 20 years have passed, and my niece has grown into a young lady. Our personalities didn't match after giving birth to her. Her mother left, Zhou Shuilin said with a sigh. Then, he changed the subject and asked, Peak Master Teng, what is the urgent matter that brought you here today? At that moment, Zhou Si had just finished preparing the spiritual tea and brought it over. She set down the tea set and retreated to the side. Teng Jingshan picked up the tea and took a sip. Good tea. After setting down the cup, he continued, I came today to discuss an important matter. Zhou Shuilin understood and waved his hand, forming a spiritual barrier that enveloped the two of them. Outside the barrier, Zhou Si could no longer hear any of their conversation. Chapter 303. Zhou Si looked at the two people inside the barrier, talking animatedly, and a wave of sorrow rose in her heart. Just now, their conversation had mentioned her mother. It made her unable to stop her thoughts from wandering. Perhaps, if her mother had taken her away back then, she would be like other girls, innocent and carefree instead. She now lived a hellish life while having to pretend to be happy and naive every day. Zhou Si thought to herself. Unconsciously, her mind began to imagine what her mother looked like. About a cup of tea later, Teng Jingshan took his leave and left. As soon as Teng Jingshan departed, Zhou Shuilin's expression became cold again. He flipped his palm, and a black box, about the size of a palm, appeared in his hand. This is the Blood Plunder Feather. When activated with spiritual power, it can launch 13 razor-sharp blades. Each blade is coated with a potent poison. Even a Foundation Establishment cultivator will die upon contact. You will take the Blood Plunder Feather to Wu Shang's cave and eliminate him, along with anyone else in his cave. Since you have a close relationship with him, he won't be on guard against you, so it should be easy to succeed. Zhou Si's face turned pale with terror upon hearing this. With Wu Xing's current importance to the sect, if I enter his cave and kill him, I will definitely be exposed. The sect won't let me off. Zhou Shuilin said, once you kill him, escape immediately. I'll find a way to hold off the pursuers. Zhou Si bent her legs and knelt on the ground, pleading, Father, I don't want to die. Please don't make me kill Wu Sheng. Once he's dead, the First Supreme will definitely be furious. How can I possibly escape the pursuit of a nascent soul cultivator? Zhou Shuilin squatted down, staring directly into his daughter's eyes. As long as you kill him, I will lift the restrictions I placed on your soul since childhood, and from then on, you will gain the freedom you have always dreamed of. A glimmer of hope lit up Zhou Si's eyes, but it was quickly overshadowed by a deep fear. Father, please let me go. I really don't want to die. Zhou Si's eyes turned red and tears fell like raindrops. Zhou Shuilin's gaze turned fierce as he tightly grasped his daughter's smooth chin. You will go whether you want to or not, just now. Teng Jingshan came to convey a message that the First Supreme has already made a promise. The peak that first captures the human snake corpse and refines it to the level of complete spiritual energy will have the next sect master chosen from there. Teng Jingshan doesn't have much time left. He cannot become the sect master as long as Spirit Beast Peak can be the first to achieve complete spiritual energy. The next sect master will be me. Now, the only obstacle is Wu Shang. Once he's dead, it will be difficult for the others on his peak to achieve the fusion of spiritual energy in a short time. Spirit Beast Peak has many people and resources. We will definitely be able to fulfill the First Supreme's requirements before they can. The term complete spiritual energy refers to the energy filling the entire physical body. Zhi Si cried and shook her head. Father, we can think of a more hidden way to kill Wu Sheng. Zhou Shuilin replied coldly. Wu Sheng is too cautious. He rarely even leaves the sect. The only convenient place to act is in his cave. Since you have a close relationship with him, you are the easiest to enter his cave. But Zhou Si wanted to say something else, but Zhou Shuilin interrupted her. If you keep resisting, I will activate the soul lock curse in your soul, making you wish for death. The words soul lock curse seemed to awaken Zhou Si's deep-seated fear, causing her expression to turn pale with terror. I will go, but you must keep your promise. Once Wu Xing is dead, you must lift the soul lock curse. Seeing that Zhou Si finally agreed to assassinate Wu Sheng, Zhou Shuilin smiled slightly. As long as Wu Xing dies, the soul lock curse will naturally dissipate. Zhou Si stood up and looked at her father. I hope you keep your word. After speaking, she glanced around the cave. This was the place where she had grown up, but she had no attachment to this place at all. This cave had brought her no happiness, only endless pain. This should be the last time she came here in her life, no matter the outcome. Whether life or death, she would never step foot in this cave again. Zhou Si left the cave without looking back. Watching his daughter's retreating figure, Zhou Xuelin reminded her, first, return to your own cave, calm your mind and devise a thorough plan, do not act impulsively. Once Zhou Si's figure disappeared into the cave, Zhou Xuelin's expression turned extremely cold. The soul lock curse will definitely dissipate, and along with it will go your soul. I've raised you for over 20 years, and in the end, you're just like that bitch of a mother, always wanting to leave me. Why does everyone have to betray me? Zhou Xuelin raged like a madman. His curses echoed endlessly within the vast cave. 2 days later, Songwen was in his cave, refining the human snake corpse. Suddenly, Zhou Si's voice rang out from outside the cave. Junior brother Wu, I have something to discuss with you. Could you open the cave for a moment? Halfway through refining the corpse, Songwen didn't want to be disturbed, so he took out a communication jade slip. Senior Sister Zhou, I am in the middle of refining a corpse and can't go out. If you have urgent matters, please send a message through the jade slip. Soon, he received a reply from Zhou Si. Junior brother Wu, I have no urgent matters. You can continue refining the corpse at ease. Songwen put away the communication jade slip and continued with his work. Half a day later, once he had finished refining the corpse, Songwen placed the human snake into the serpent pit. Through the sacred goo he had monitoring the cave, Songwen learned that Zhou Si hadn't left but had been waiting outside the cave. Keeping Zhou Si waiting outside wasn't a good idea, so Songwen had no choice but to open the cave's restrictions and step outside. Senior Sister Zhou, you've been waiting here? Songwen feigned ignorance, acting very surprised. Junior brother Wu, you finally came out, Zhou Si said with a joyful expression. What important matter do you have for me? Songwen asked. It's nothing too important. My corpse refining skills haven't improved much, so I thought I could observe you while you refine corpses. I wonder if Junior brother Wu would agree? Songwen, without suspicion, readily agreed. If Senior Sister Zhou wants to observe the corpse refining, that's no problem. Just so happens that I have a human snake that needs to undergo the third refinement. I'll bring the human snake to the human snake cave, and with Zhang Bing and Li Shi present, I can demonstrate the refining process for you. Zhang Bing and Li Shi were the elder stewards of the human snake cave, and their corpse refining skills were quite rudimentary. They had mentioned to Songwen several times that they wanted to observe his corpse refining process. Zhou Si was momentarily taken aback, going to the human snake cave to refine corpses. And with 2 other elders present, this was not what she wanted. What she wanted was a chance to be alone with Songwen. Moreover, it was supposed to be in Songwen's cave. Chapter 304. Not getting the response she wanted, Zhou Si frowned deeply. Junior brother Wu, could you demonstrate the corpse refinement in your cave? It's quite troublesome to bring the human snake back and forth. Songwen thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. All right, then I will notify Zhang Bing and Li Shi to come over as soon as possible. As soon as he finished speaking, Songwen took hold of 2 communication jade slips. Junior brother Wu, wait a moment. Zhou Si hurriedly stopped him from sending the message. Songwen looked up at her, puzzled. Senior Sister Zhou, is there something else? Could you demonstrate the corpse refinement for me alone? Zhou Si requested. Why? Songwen narrowed his eyes slightly, scrutinizing her. He felt that Zhou Si was acting a bit strangely today, giving off an unsettling vibe. Zhou Si opened her mouth several times but hesitated, not saying a word. This isn't the place for conversation. Can we talk in your cave? Songwen's expression gradually became serious. Senior Sister Zhou, what are you really? Before Songwen could finish his sentence, he noticed Zhou Si signaling him with her eyes, indicating that he should not continue. At the same time, Songwen sensed that Zhou Si's communication jade slip in her storage ring had vibrated. They stood facing each other. Zhou Si neither spoke nor used spiritual sound transmission. Instead, she communicated with a more discreet jade slip. She could only ask one question. She was worried that someone might be eavesdropping on them, fearing that their conversation could be overheard. Songwen's mind raced, and he discreetly took out the communication jade slip. Someone wants to take your life. Songwen's thoughts turned sharply as he quickly ran through the names of those who might hold a grudge against him in his mind. He realized that in the Beastmaster sect, the only person he had a deep enmity with was Ling Tianlu. Since Leng Tianlu was aware of his corpse-refining activities, which were related to the first Supreme Elder, he probably wouldn't dare to take action against him. Who else could it be besides Leng Tianlu? Why did Zhou Si know that someone wanted to kill him? Could it be that the murderer had some connection to Zhou Si? Song Wen glanced at Zhou Si and gestured for her to enter. Senior Sister Zhou, please come in. Once inside the cave, Song Wen deliberately kept a certain distance from Zhou Si. First, he activated the Concealing Spirit Formation and 9 Palaces in Array before speaking. Senior Sister Zhou, who wants to kill me? Seeing Song Wen's cautious and guarded demeanor, Zhou Si let out bitter smile. Zhou Shuolin had sent her to kill Wu Shang, which was simply a fanciful idea with Wu Shang's cautious nature. How could he possibly be easily ambushed? She organized her thoughts and slowly replied, It's Zhou Shuolin who sent me to kill you. Zhou Shuolin sent you to kill me. Upon hearing this, Song Wen suddenly radiated a powerful killing intent. This killing intent was like the cold winds and snow of winter, chilling to the bone. Zhou Si couldn't help but shiver deeply, staring at Song Wen in shock. At that moment, Song Wen resembled a god of slaughter emerging from a battlefield, exuding an overwhelming aura of death. This was a stark contrast to his usual timid and cautious demeanor. Zhou Si realized that everyone at the Alchemy Peak, including Zhou Shuolin, had likely underestimated the situation. Wu Shang is definitely not an easy opponent. Is it because I integrated the mystic chi and refused to join the spirit beast peak that Zhou Shuolin wants to kill me? Song Wen questioned sharply. Zhou Si nodded. Yes, the mystic chi is related to the selection of the next sect master. If you achieve full integration of the mystic chi first, the position of sect master will fall to the golden core cultivator of the alchemy peak. Zhou Shuolin is obsessed with power and naturally doesn't want to see that scene. Therefore, he wants to eliminate you to slow down the progress of Alchemy Peak's integration of Mystic Chi. Upon hearing this, Song Wen suddenly recalled 2 days ago, the Peak Master of Alchemy Peak, Fang Pingyi, had suddenly come to him and increased his monthly salary. The monthly salary for the elders of the Shen Hall was 1,000 spirit stones, plus 200 sect contribution points. As the person in charge of the Human Snake Cave, Song Wen received an additional 1,000 spirit stones and 200 contribution points as a reward. Fang Pingyi had doubled Song Wen's salary on top of what he was already receiving. Now, Song Wen could receive 4,000 spirit stones and 800 contributions every month. For a foundation-building cultivator, this was undoubtedly a huge income. The matter of refining the mystic chi involved the selection of the next sect master, which explained Fang Pingyi's actions. Fang Pingyi was being so generous just to allow Song Wen to focus on corpse refinement and achieve full integration of mystic chi as soon as possible. He wanted to compete for the position of sect master himself. Song Wen looked at Zhou Si with a puzzled expression. Then why didn't you make a move against me? Instead, you chose to betray your kin and inform me of this matter. Zhou Si did not answer. Instead, she loosened the belt around her waist and took off her upper garment. What he saw was that her skin was as smooth as jade, but her body was covered in countless hideous scars, like disgusting worms crawling all over her. Perhaps it was her first time revealing her body in front of others. Zhou Si's face flushed slightly, and she hurriedly put her clothes back on. These scars were left on me by Zhou Shuolin over the past 20 years. They are evidence of Zhou Shuolin's inhuman abuse and a testament to my suffering. I keep them, hoping that one day I can return them all to Zhou Shuolin. Zhou Si said through gritted teeth, filled with hatred. However, to Zhou Si's disappointment, when Song Wen looked at her bare upper body, he felt no pity for her horrifying scars and harbored no improper thoughts. His expression remained cautious and guarded. Since you have suffered such inhumane treatment from Zhou Shuolin, why don't you escape from the Beastmaster sect? Zhou Si's face was filled with despair as she forced a bitter smile. Escape? Since childhood, my soul has been cursed with a soul-locking spell by Zhou Shuolin. Where can I possibly escape to? Song Wen said. Then why are you telling me all this? Zhou Si replied. Zhou Shuolin wants your life, and similarly, he doesn't plan to spare me. Right now, he is an enemy to both of us naturally. I want to invite you to deal with Zhou Shualin together. Song Wen's brow furrowed deeply. If what Zhou Si said was true, then she really had no way out. She clearly understood that if she killed him, she would certainly be doomed as well. If she didn't kill him, she would surely suffer even more abuse from Zhou Shualin. It seemed that Song Wen was also under the threat of death, but his situation was much better than Zhou Si's. He still had options. Song Wen could seek help from Fang Pangyi or hide in the human snake cave, where he would be safe for the time being, but neither of these was a long-term solution currently. Song Wen had immense value to Fang Pangyi, and naturally, Fang Pingyi would find a way to protect him. However, when Fang Pingyi no longer needed Song Wen for corpse refinement, Song Wen didn't believe that Fang Pingyi would risk everything to confront Zhou Shualin for his sake, of course. Song Wen could also choose to leave the Beastmaster sect entirely, but he wasn't at a dead end yet. Moreover, within the Beastmaster sect, there were things that Song Wen wanted: the follow-up techniques for the longevity technique, the methods for forming golden cores and refining them, the insights from the predecessors of the Beastmaster sect regarding core formation. Chapter 305. You've come to find me for a frank discussion. So you must have a plan to deal with Zhou Shualin? Song Wen asked. Zhou Si nodded in response. Zhou Shualin gave me a set of secret weapons called Blood Plunder Feather, which is laced with deadly poison. Foundation-building cultivators will die upon contact. My plan is to remove the deadly poison from the Blood Plunder Feather and replace it with a common poison. Then, I will use the Blood Plunder Feather to injure you, causing you to get hurt but not mortally. After that, I will pretend to be captured by you, and you will take me to Fang Pengyi. I will then accuse Zhou Shualin of being the mastermind behind the scenes, intending to sabotage the integration of the mystic qi. Fang Pengyi wants to take the sect master position, and since he wants to eliminate Zhou Shualin, he will definitely report this matter to the First Elder. At that time, the First Elder will surely take action against Zhou Shualin, and I can also ask the Elder to help me lift the Soul Lock curse. After hearing this, Song Wen shook his head. If we act according to your plan, Zhou Shualin will be imprisoned for a while at most. The sect won't execute a golden core cultivator over such a trivial matter, unless you and I defect from the Beastmaster sect. Otherwise, once Zhou Shualin regains his freedom, we will face his immense wrath. Seeing that Song Wen disagreed with her plan, Zhou Si's heart suddenly felt flustered. She knew very well that Song Wen had options and didn't necessarily have to cooperate with her to deal with Zhou Shualin. Zhou Si asked, Junior Brother Wu, do you have a better strategy? Song Wen replied, if we are going to strike Zhou Shualin, we must do so with a single lethal blow. Zhou Si's eyes brightened. That night, deep into the night, Zhou Si looked pale and disheveled, appearing severely injured as she walked out of Song Wen's cave and flew toward Spirit Beast Peak. Beneath her pained expression lay a heart filled with unease. If Song Wen's plan could succeed, it could indeed place Zhou Shualin in a position of no return. However, this plan required her to take a huge risk, while Song Wen wouldn't need to take any risks at all. In order to eliminate Zhou Shualin, Zhou Si had no choice but to choose to take the risk. A moment later, she arrived outside Zhou Shualin's cave. Passing through the restrictions outside the cave, she entered, suddenly. Her figure stumbled, falling to the ground as a large amount of fresh blood gushed from her mouth. Inside the cave, shadows flickered. Zhou Shualin appeared in front of Zhou Si, looking down at her coldly. How did you get so badly injured? With a sweep of his spiritual sense, Zhou Shualin clearly perceived that Zhou Si's internal organs were severely damaged and that there was a surge of lightning power rampaging within her. It could be said that her life was in danger. Zhou Si struggled to raise her hand and grabbed Zhou Shualin's ankle. Father, please, save me. Cough, cough. As she spoke, she spat out more blood. Since Zhou Si still had some value, Zhou Shualin was unwilling to let her die like this. Zhou Shualin unleashed a surge of spiritual power, dissipating the lightning inside her. After Zhou Si spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood, her breath gradually stabilized. Who injured you? Zhou Shualin asked again. Wu Sheng, Zhou Si replied. You went to assassinate him? What was the result? Zhou Shualin asked urgently. Lying on the ground, Zhou Si slowly said, "Wuxing is not as simple as he appears. He was caught off guard by my surprise attack and was injured by the blood plunder feather, but he didn't die on the spot. Instead, he countered with lightning techniques and severely injured me. After that, he activated a 7th level formation to protect himself, and then he fainted. I was too severely injured to break through that formation, so I could only return to report." Zhou Xuelin's expression darkened and a murderous aura erupted from his eyes. "So, you mean to say that not only did you fail to kill Wusheng, but you also fled to my cave? Do you want to drag me into sharing the blame for the assassination of Wusheng?" Zhou Si was filled with panic. "No, it's not like that. I came because I have very important information to report to you. In Wuxing's cave, there are 7 second-tier human snakes. One of the female human snakes is about to reach the state of abundant mystic qi." Zhou Si spoke quickly, as if afraid that if she slowed down even a little, Zhou Xuelin would kill her. "What? Wusheng has managed to cultivate the human snakes to the state of abundant mystic qi? How is that possible? Just over 3 months ago, Wuxing had only managed to fuse the human snakes to produce a trace of weak mystic qi to achieve the state of abundant mystic qi in such a short time? Was the first trace of mystic qi the hardest to produce? Once the first trace of mystic qi appeared, would it rapidly grow stronger?" Zhou Xuelin's mind was in turmoil, filled with anxiety. His rationality told him that the human snake corpses couldn't have reached the state of abundant mystic qi so quickly, but since this was Zhou Xuelin's first encounter with mystic qi, he was completely unaware of how quickly it could grow. Zhou Xuelin became extremely anxious and restless. If what Zhou Si said was true, then the position of sect master would fall into Fang Pingyi's hands. A strong sense of unwillingness surged within him. Zhou Xuelin's gaze turned cold and ruthless. "I cannot allow Fang Pingyi to take the sect master position. The next sect master can only be me." Suddenly, Zhou Si raised her hand and handed a token to Zhou Xuelin. "This is Wuxing's identity token. He was carrying it with him, and it fell out after I ambushed him. The fact that Wusheng has been poisoned and injured hasn't been discovered by anyone yet. There is still a chance to kill Wusheng and steal that second-tier human snake." Zhou Xuelin infused his spiritual power into the identity token and drew it into his hand. He sensed it briefly and confirmed that it was indeed Wuxing's identity token. Afterward, he hesitated a bit. He wanted Song dead but didn't want to do it himself. Killing Songwen would definitely provoke the First Elder's wrath. However, Zhou Si's earlier words had given him a reminder. If he could control the human snake that was about to reach the state of abundant mystic qi in Songwen's cave, it should help dissipate the First Elder's anger. For the First Elder, what mattered was the human snake with abundant mystic qi, not a fully realized abundant mystic qi person. After pondering for a moment, Zhou Xuelin's gaze turned cold as he stared at Zhou Si. "What you're saying isn't a lie, is it?" Zhou Si hurriedly replied, "My life is in your hands. How could I dare to deceive you? I only hope you can keep your promise and lift the soul lock curse on me." Zhou Xuelin's gaze was icy as he silently stared into Zhou Si's eyes. Not saying a word, Zhou Si felt a chill run down her spine. Zhou Xuelin's gaze filled her with inexplicable fear. Yet she dared not show any sign of weakness and could only force herself to meet his gaze. After about 10 breaths, Zhou Xuelin took out a healing pill and gave it to Zhou Si to swallow. Using his spiritual power to refine it and temporarily stabilize her internal injuries, Zhou Si could not die yet. He needed her as a scapegoat. Zhou Xuelin concealed his aura and, with Zhou Si, moved under the cover of night to outside Song Wen's cave. After confirming that no one was around, he activated Song Wen's identity token to unlock the cave's restrictions. He used his spiritual sense to probe inside the cave, and indeed, there was a second-tier formation within. The formation covered most of the cave, including the snake pit, while the defensive power of this formation was not particularly strong. It had a very effective concealment capability. Even as a golden core cultivator, Zhou Xuelin could not perceive any movements within the formation. Chapter 306. Zhou Xuelin casually threw Zhou Si into Song Wen's cave. After confirming there were no abnormalities, he flew into the cave. Then he activated Song Wen's identity token to seal the cave's restrictions. Next, he needed to forcibly break through the 5th-tier formation, which would definitely cause some noise. Sealing the cave's restrictions would make it hard for outsiders to notice. Zhou Xuelin approached the formation barrier holding a 3-foot green blade. He circulated his spiritual power, the longsword suddenly stabbed toward the formation barrier. The formation barrier shattered like ripples spreading across the surface of a lake when a stone is thrown into it. However, the next scene caused a sudden surge of ominous premonition in Zhou Xuelin's heart. After the formation barrier broke, a vast expanse of white mist surged out. In an instant, Zhou Xuelin and Zhou Si were engulfed, filling the entire cave. Spirit concealing mist. Zhou Xuelin's expression changed slightly. A large amount of spirit-concealing mist filled the narrow cave. The density of the spirit-concealing mist far exceeded that used by Du Tianhua outdoors. Before him was a white haze, and nothing was visible. The suppression of spiritual awareness was also much stronger. His spiritual sense could barely detect movements within half a meter around him. This made Zhou Xuelin nearly blind. At the same time, he lost all sense of Zhou Si. Suddenly, the mist ahead began to surge violently. Accompanying this were piercing sounds of something slicing through the air. It was as if a massive iron rod was smashing toward him. Zhou Xuelin assumed it was Song when launching a surprise attack, and a look of disdain crossed his face. Even with the spirit-concealing mist disrupting his perception, a Foundation establishment cultivator could hardly injure him. He urged the long sword in his hand, and a cold gleam flashed. A sword energy slashed through the mist. Puff! The sound of the sword energy striking something echoed. Before Zhou Xuelin could check what had been hit, the mist around him began to stir violently. Zhou Xuelin's expression turned serious as he urged the long sword, unleashing countless sharp sword energies in all directions. Puff, puff, puff. The sounds of sword energy striking targets rang out one after another, followed by the muffled thud of heavy objects hitting the ground. Thud, thud, thud. Zhou Xuelin realized something was off. What he struck was not Song Wen, nor some spirit tool, but several tall living beings. They were the human snakes imprisoned in Song Wen's cave. From his 2 recent strikes, he must have hit 7 human snakes. It matched the number of human snakes in Song Wen's cave. Zhou Xuelin's expression slightly changed as he caught a whiff of a conspiracy relying on his memory. He quickly headed toward the cave's entrance. Outside the cave, Fang Pengyi and Song Wen stood suspended in midair. Fang Pengyi, you must save me. Zhou Feng from the Spirit Beast Peak wants to kill me, Song Wen said in a terrified and trembling voice. Fang Pengyi could hardly conceal the smug smile on his face, feeling extremely pleased. He had been worried that the Spirit Beast Peak, being numerous and resourceful, would outpace the Alchemy Peak in the matter of refining human snake corpses and achieve the state of abundant mysterious energy first. This could lead to the position of Sect Master falling into Zhou Xuelin's hands. Unexpectedly, Zhou Xuelin had become disordered and attacked Song Wen, who had managed to escape. What a self-inflicted predicament. Don't worry, Elder Wu. I will ensure your safety. Zhou Xuelin can't dominate the Beastmaster sect yet. Just then, the cave's restrictions suddenly opened. Zhou Xuelin's figure appeared at the entrance of the cave. When he saw Song Wen and Fang Pengyi, an icy chill suddenly rose in his heart. Elder Wu is actually not in the cave. This is a trap. Elder Wu colluded with Zhou Si, intentionally luring him here, and then used the spirit-concealing mist to disrupt his perception, causing him to slaughter all the human snakes. Zhou Si, that wretched girl, she betrayed me. Zhou Xuelin's eyes widened with fury, thinking maliciously, Zhou Xuelin, as a deputy peak master, how can you secretly attack your fellow sect's Foundation establishment elders? This is a disgrace to the reputation of the Beastmaster sect. Fang Pengyi scolded loudly, his voice booming like a bell. He intended to attract the attention of more sect members to the incident, exposing Zhou Xuelin's heinous deeds and tarnishing his reputation. Fang Pengyi, get out of the way. Zhou Xuelin glared at Fang Pengyi, wanting to withdraw as quickly as possible. However, Fang Pengyi was not about to let go of this opportunity to bring Zhou Xuelin down. He wouldn't allow him to leave easily. In the night sky, dozens of figures were rushing toward them. Fang Pengyi had already notified the entire peak with a jade slip, summoning all Foundation establishment cultivators and some Qi refinement disciples. These people quickly surrounded the cave's entrance, leaving no escape route. Zhou Xuelin's expression was as dark as water. Fang Pengyi, what do you want? Fang Pengyi raised an eyebrow, a mocking smile curling at the corners of his mouth. What do I want to do? Of course, I want the whole sect to see your hypocritical face. You! Zhou Shualin glared at him, shouting angrily. Tell your peak members to move aside. Otherwise, I will take action. Ha ha! Fang Pingyi chuckled lightly. Peak Master Zhou, with all eyes on you, you actually think to act against more than 10 Foundation establishment elders and dozens of Qi refinement disciples from my peak. At that moment, Zhou Si stumbled out of Songwen's cave. She bent her legs and knelt before Zhou Shualin. Father, please spare your daughter. I really don't want to die. Zhou Si's pleas were like adding fuel to the fire. Secretly assassinating fellow sect elders and violating sect prohibitions was a grave sin. To want to put his own daughter to death was an even greater evil, a loss of all humanity. The crowd watching this scene was suddenly in an uproar. Zhou Si was exceptionally beautiful, with outstanding talent, and many cultivators in the peak held her in high regard. It was astonishing that Zhou Shualin would want to harm such a perfect daughter. Instantly, people began pointing and whispering among themselves. Zhou Shualin stared at his pleading daughter, burning with rage, his hands trembling uncontrollably. I have toiled and endured to raise you for over 10 years, and you repay my kindness with malice. Father, I just want to live. Zhou Si cried, tears streaming down her face, looking pitiful. I will kill you, unfilial daughter. Zhou Shualin's anger surged, his killing intent overwhelming. A tremendous amount of spiritual power gathered between his hands. Though he desperately wished to tear Zhou Si apart, he didn't dare to kill her in front of everyone. Otherwise, he would be branded with the stigma of harming his own daughter. TSK, Peak Master Zhou, you truly are universally despised, Fang Pingyi said gleefully, fanning the flames at this moment. Several figures rushed in from the distant sky. It was the people from the law enforcement hall whom Fang Pingyi had notified. The newcomers included the head of the law enforcement hall, Luo Liang, the deputy hall master, Feng Xinghai, and several Foundation establishment cultivators. Luo Liang was previously Luo Lianggong. Zhou Shualin's face grew increasingly ugly, with both the head and deputy hall master of the law enforcement hall present. Today's events would not end well. It was likely that soon the entire Beastmaster sect would know. Zhou Shualin, a dignified Golden Core cultivator and deputy master of the Spirit Beast Peak, had secretly assassinated a sect's Foundation establishment elder. Moreover, he had failed. His reputation within the Beastmaster sect would plummet. He had completely lost the qualification to vie for the position of sect master. Though the righteous path values strength, it also emphasizes righteousness and fairness, at least. That's how it appears on the surface. The sect master of the Beastmaster sect could not possibly be someone unprincipled and infamous. Chapter 307. Lord Luo, Deputy Lord Feng, you've come at just the right time. Zhou Shualin has assassinated an elder of my alchemy peak, violating the sect's rules. I trouble you to take him down. Fang Pingyi spoke like thunder. Zhou Shualin roared, Fang Pingyi, you are slandering me. I have no grudge against Elder Wu, so why would I kill him? Fang Pingyi sneered, Peak Master Zhou, don't try to wriggle out of this. If you weren't trying to assassinate Elder Wu, why would you sneak into his cave in the middle of the night? I was looking for Elder Wu to discuss something. He just so happened not to be in his cave, and the cave's defenses were wide open. I was worried about Elder Wu's safety, so I just came in to take a look. After a brief moment of panic, Zhou Shualin gradually clarified his thoughts and concocted a seemingly reasonable excuse. Fang Pingyi said, Zhou Shualin, no matter how eloquently you speak, you cannot change the facts. GC is right here. She witnessed the entire process of your crime. Zhou Shualin knew that Zhou Si was the key figure. Her testimony would be decisive. If Zhou Si sided with him, there might still be a way out of this. He had gone to discuss matters with Elder Wu, bringing his daughter and arriving in the middle of the night, only to find the cave's defenses wide open, with concealment mist billowing inside. Concerned for Elder Wu's safety, he charged into the mist. As for the dead human snakes, they were not his doing but rather the work of someone else. Just now, when he activated the sword light, he deliberately held back and did not use his own spiritual power. Instead, he used his physical strength to activate the sword's inherent power, triggering the sword light. Thus, Those human snakes did not have any residue of his spiritual energy on them. As long as he bit them to death, he had not laid a hand on them and others would not find any evidence. This was Zhou Xuelin's plan to extricate himself. The only thing missing now is Zhou Ci's corroboration. So, Zhou Xuelin sent a voice transmission to Zhou Ci. I know you harbor resentment against me, but considering our 20+ years of father-daughter bond and my nurturing of you, I hope you can help me through this difficult time. Once this matter settles, I will definitely lift the soul lock curse and return your freedom to you. From now on, the sky is high and the birds can fly wherever they wish. I will never interfere. Zhou Xuelin tried to move her emotionally and lure her with benefits. Fang Pingyi, Luo Liang, and Feng Xinghai sensed that Zhou Xuelin was secretly transmitting a message. However, the cultivation levels of the three were not higher than Zhou Xuelin's late golden core stage, and they could not forcibly intercept the content of the transmission. Peak Master Zhou conspiring secretly with voice transmissions is not the act of a gentleman. What is it that you cannot say openly? Worried that Zhou Ci and Zhou Xuelin were secretly plotting, Fang Pingyi mocked. However, Fang Pingyi was overly cautious. Zhou Ci, who had long been mistreated by Zhou Xuelin, would hardly believe his lies. Zhou Ci said indignantly. Zhou Xuelin is worried that Elder Wu has gotten ahead of him, refining the human snake corpses to the point of gaining the chi of the profound, thus attaining a position in the sect. Hence, he has murderous intentions, intending to kill Elder Wu. Zhou Xuelin clenched his hands tightly, his eyes wide open, his chest heaving violently, filled with an extreme rage. How dare you slander your own father? This is simply outrageous. I will cleanse my family by killing you, this unfilial daughter. With that, Zhou Xuelin was about to erupt in violence. Suddenly, a thunderous shout rang out. Enough. Accompanying the shout was a tremendous pressure. Yang Yu appeared at the entrance of Song Wen's cave. Greetings, First Supreme Elder. Fang Pingyi, Luo Liang, Feng Xinghai, and Zhou Xuelin were the first to react, hurriedly bowing in respect. The other disciples, seeing this, also followed suit. When they saw the first Supreme Elder appear in person, everyone was unexpectedly shocked. An elder from the Foundation establishment stage being ambushed could actually attract the first Supreme Elder. Zhou Xuelin was filled with dread. With the first Supreme Elder personally present, today's events would likely not end well. Yang Yu paid no attention to the crowd. His spiritual sense probed into Song Wen's cave. While concealment mist could greatly disrupt the spiritual senses of golden core cultivators, its effect on nascent soul cultivators was not significant. Yang Yu easily perceived everything inside the cave. 7 human snakes lay dead, 6 of them lifeless. The 6 human snakes had been sliced into several pieces by the sword chi. 1 other had been cut in 2, barely clinging to life due to the powerful vitality of the human snake. What angered Yang Yu the most was that one of the 6 slain human snakes had already begun to manifest the mystic chi. Who killed these human snakes? Yang Yu's voice was calm as water, yet it carried an overwhelming sense of murderous intent. Instantly, everyone present fell silent, not daring to make a sound. Reporting to the Supreme Elder, it was done by Zhou Xuelin, the Peak Master Zhou. Fang Pingyi spoke with a serious expression in his heart. He was overjoyed, secretly delighted. Yang Yu's appearance was beyond his expectations. Seeing Yang Yu's attitude, Zhou Xuelin would likely never have a chance to turn things around. Yang Yu had come because he received a message from Songwen to put Zhou Xuelin to death. Only the first Supreme Elder could make it happen. Yang Yu's icy gaze fell on Zhou Xuelin. Why did you kill the human snakes? Don't you know they are what I need? Zhou Xuelin immediately turned pale with fear. Supreme Elder, Zhou Xuelin wanted to plead for mercy, but he found himself at a loss for words. He could argue and weave excuses with Fang Pingyi and the others, but in front of Yang Yu he did not dare to speak recklessly. Reporting to the Supreme Elder, Zhou Xuelin is jealous of Elder Wu. He is fused with the mystic chi and harboring malicious intent. Not only did he ruthlessly strike down the human snakes, but he also sought to assassinate Elder Wu. Zhou Ci, who was kneeling on the ground, suddenly interjected. Yang Yu's eyes sharpened as he looked at Zhou Ci. Who are you? I am Zhou Xuelin's daughter named Zhou Ci. Bang, bang, bang. Zhou Ci suddenly started banging her head on the ground forcefully, creating loud thuds. In an instant, her forehead was covered in blood, flowing freely. Please, Supreme Elder, uphold justice for me. Since I was young, I have suffered horrendous abuse at the hands of Zhou Xuelin. He even placed the soul lock curse on my soul. This person is utterly insane, unworthy of being human. I implore the Supreme Elder to seek justice for me. Zhou Si's words instantly stirred commotion among the crowd. Cultivators being cruel was common, but to be so vicious to one's own daughter was quite rare. All eyes turned to Zhou Xuelin, making him feel like a thorn was in his back. Yang Yu unleashed his spiritual sense, forcibly entering Zhou Si's sea of consciousness, and found that her soul was indeed bound by a blackthorn. Zhou Xuelin, what else do you have to say? Yang Yu said coldly. A surge of killing intent rushed toward Zhou Xuelin. In an instant, Zhou Xuelin turned ashen. Please, Supreme Elder, show mercy and spare my life. I was momentarily blinded by desire. Before Zhou Xuelin could finish his sentence, he was interrupted sharply by Yang Yu. I see, it's been a long time since we old folks have shown ourselves, making you think that the Beastmaster sect is your world, allowing you to act recklessly. I dare not. Before Zhou Xuelin could finish speaking, he felt a powerful force of spiritual power surging toward him. This force was as overwhelming as the waves, leaving him without the ability to resist. A sense of impending death filled his heart in an instant. Fear, unwillingness, anger, various emotions intertwined. He glared fiercely at Zhou Si. If I'm to die, I'll take you down with me, you despicable woman. You've brought my downfall. Come and die alongside me. Chapter 308. Zhou Xuelin's resentful gaze instantly sent Zhou Si into a deep abyss, making her shiver all over. Suddenly, a soul-tearing pain surged from her sea of consciousness, causing Zhou Si unbearable agony. The black thorns entwined around her soul began to violently contract, tearing at her soul, trying to make her soul scatter. Yang Yu's expression turned icy. In front of him, Zhou Xuelin still dared to commit evil. He truly did not take this Supreme Elder seriously. If this were earlier, Zhou Xuelin would have killed his own daughter without even causing Yang Yu to blink, but at this moment, under the watchful eyes of many disciples and in front of this first Supreme Elder, Zhou Xuelin still dared to act. That was a provocation. How dare you harm others in my presence? Die! Zhou Xuelin's expression turned fearful at these words. He turned to look at Yang Yu, wanting to say something. However, before his gaze could settle on Yang Yu, he felt a sharp pain at his neck. In the next moment, a bright light pierced his soul, and the pain of his soul being torn apart surged through him. His consciousness blurred, turning into chaos. To put it simply, Zhou Xuelin's death occurred in an instant. Others only saw a flash of cold light. Zhou Xuelin's head flew high into the air, then he scattered into oblivion. While killing Zhou Xuelin, Yang Yu also cast a spell to protect Zhou Si's soul. At the moment Zhou Xuelin died, the soul lock curse in Zhou Si's sea of consciousness automatically dissipated. Zhou Si knelt on the ground. Gasping for breath, a sense of relief washed over her. With Zhou Xuelin's death, she truly gained her freedom and would no longer be coerced. Yang Yu looked around at the stunned crowd and spoke. In the future, if anyone dares to openly oppose me and ruin my plans, Zhou Xuelin will be your fate. Yang Yu's killing of Zhou Xuelin carried a warning. The disciples of the Beastmaster sect were engaged in their intrigues, but Yang Yu, as a nascent soul cultivator, did not care and was too lazy to inquire. But when it came to things he needed, if anyone dared to interfere, it would be seeking their own death. Zhou Xuelin's death exceeded most people's expectations. After all, he was a late-stage golden core cultivator, yet he was so easily slain. Fangpingyi. Yang Yu called out, "Disciple is here." Seeing Yang Yu suddenly call for him, Fangpingyi's heart tightened. Unsure of the reason, the human snake corpse has been destroyed and needs to be remade. You must fully assist in gathering the materials needed for Elder Wu's corpse refining. If there are any obstacles from other peaks, you may report to me. Understood. Fangpingyi secretly rejoiced in his heart. Yang Yu was giving him the authority to allocate some of the sect's resources. Elder Wu, Yang Yu said again, "Disciple is here." Songwen bowed respectfully, prepared to refine the corpse well. If there are any difficulties, you can contact me. Understood. Yang Yu nodded and vanished without a trace. Once the Supreme Elder left, everyone felt a heavy weight lifted off their shoulders. The pressure from a nascent soul cultivator was truly immense. Fangpingyi glanced at Zhou Xuelin's corpse on the stone platform at the cave entrance and spoke loudly. "This matter is settled, everyone may disperse." Upon hearing this, everyone hurriedly took to the skies and left. In an instant, only Songwen, Zhou Si, Fangpingyi, Feng Xinghai, and Luo Liang were left in the hall. "Thank you, the two palace masters, for coming to uphold justice. Now that Zhou Xuelin is dead, you may both return," Fangpingyi said. cupping his hands in a polite manner, though his words were a clear dismissal. Feng Xinghai sneered, "Palace Master Feng, what you're doing seems a bit inappropriate when we needed you and—" "Palace Master Luo, you urged us to come quickly. Now that there's nothing left, you want to send us away immediately." With Feng Xinghai exposing his thoughts, Fang Pingyi no longer concealed his intentions and stated bluntly, "Elder Zhu Si is Zhou Xuelin's daughter, so Zhou Xuelin's possessions naturally belong to her." "Hey!" Feng Xinghai scoffed dismissively, "Do you think we're 3-year-olds that can be easily fooled? Si's cultivation is only at the early stage of foundation establishment. How can she defend Zhou Xuelin's entire fortune as a late-stage golden core cultivator? What do you want?" Fang Pingyi asked. "Of course, everyone should get their share," Feng Xinghai replied. Fang Pingyi responded, "There are still so many people here. How are we to divide it?" Feng Xinghai looked around and said, "Elder Wu was secretly assassinated by Zhou Xuelin. Although he escaped, he was still quite frightened and should receive appropriate compensation. As Zhou Xuelin's daughter, Si should also get her share. We can split it equally among us. How does that sound?" After pondering for a moment, Fang Pingyi said, "All right." Luo Liang, who had been silent, also nodded in agreement. "Okay." The three of them were willing to share Zhou Xuelin's possessions with Song Wen, primarily because Yang Yu valued Song Wen, making it impossible for them to ignore him. Giving something to Zhou Si was also to silence the rumors among the Beastmaster sect. If Zhou Xuelin's belongings went entirely to Zhou Si, it would surely lead to criticism. Zhou Xuelin, as the deputy peak master of the Spirit Beast Peak, had a significant fortune, especially with that Spirit Beast in his Spirit Beast pouch, which had mid-third tier strength and was worth over 100,000 spirit stones. His storage ring also contained numerous spirit materials and pills, most of which were needed by golden core cultivators. Neither Song Wen nor Zhou Si could utilize these items for the time being. In the end, most of the treasures ended up in the hands of the 3 golden core cultivators. They then converted the value to spirit stones to compensate Song Wen and Zhou Si. Song Wen and Zhou Si each received over 200,000 spirit stones and a couple of spiritual artifacts. From Luo Liang, Song Wen obtained a top-tier defensive spiritual artifact. It was a profound earth treasure pagoda about a foot tall. Once activated with spiritual energy, it could release a yellowish spiritual light to envelop the cultivator's entire body, resisting enemy attacks. It could also expand to a size of 10 feet to forcibly trap enemies, making it a good defensive spiritual artifact. Zhe Xuelin's corpse was handed over to Zhou Si for handling. After all, she was Zhou Xuelin's daughter. As for how Zhou Si would deal with the corpse, whether to mistreat it in anger or give it a proper burial, was no longer of concern to Song Wen and the others. "Junior brother Wu, I will always remember your kindness. I will never forget it in this lifetime," Zhou Si said gratefully after Fang Pingyi and the others left. Song Wen shook his head. "Sister Zhou, I was just saving myself. There's no need to mention the so-called life-saving grace again." Zhou Si looked at Song Wen with intense eyes. "Junior brother Wu, what you saved is not just my life, but also my vision for the rest of my days." After saying this, Zhou Si flew away on her sword. After flying a distance, she suddenly halted. Turning back to glance at Song Wen's cave, she stared for a long time, not leaving. When Song Wen returned to the cave, he saw the remnants of the human snake corpses scattered everywhere and felt a stir in his heart. The corpse of the human snake that had merged into the mystic chi still had residual mystic chi gradually dissipating at this moment. There was still a faint trace of mystic chi left on the body. This made Song Wen consider the idea of devouring the corpse's essence blood. He wanted to try absorbing the mystic chi from the human snake by consuming its essence blood, however. He ultimately suppressed this thought. These human snake corpses still needed to be handed over to Lu Jiang for disposal. If he consumed the essence blood and turned the corpse into a dry corpse, it would be hard to explain the reasons behind it. Chapter 309. The next day, Song Wen arrived early at the human snake cave. He handed over the corpses of the dead human snakes and the injured ones that had been severed into 2 pieces to Lu Jiang. Seeing Song Wen pull out the severed limbs of the human snakes and pile them up on the ground, Lu Jiang's face turned ashen. The Alchemy Peak had a total of 11 second-tier human snakes, with Song Wen having 7, Zhang Bing and Li Shi each having 1, and 2 kept in the human snake cave. These human snakes were all cultivated with great effort by Lu Jiang, and now they were all dead. This meant he needed to quickly cultivate a few new human snakes to compensate for the losses. To avoid delaying Song One and the others in refining the mystic chi, Lu Jiang had been working day and night to cultivate the human snakes. Now that he suddenly lost so many human snakes, it was inevitable that Lu Jiang felt displeased. Who did this? Lu Jiang gritted his teeth. Didn't Elder Lu hear about the incident at Alchemy Peak last night? Lu Jiang shook his head. What major event happened at Alchemy Peak? I've been in the human snake cave for the past few days and haven't left my cave. Song Wen briefly recounted the events from last night. As for the conspiracy between him and Zhou Si, that was something he certainly could not disclose. Zhou Xuelin is dead. Lu Jiang looked incredulous. Song Wen didn't want to dwell on this matter too much and changed the subject. Elder Lu, all the human snakes in my cave have been lost. Can you provide me with a few second-tier human snakes? A few? Not even one. Lu Jiang's eyes widened. I only have 2 second-tier human snakes here. I plan to cultivate them for the long term to help them advance to the late stage of the second tier. So far, the highest cultivation level of the human snakes he had cultivated was only at the mid-second tier. Once the human snakes reached the mid-second tier, it seemed they entered a bottleneck, and their strength growth slowed significantly. Song Wen smiled and said, Elder Lu, if I don't have even 1 second-tier human snake, the Grand Elder will surely blame me. Lu Jiang frowned in thought for a while before finally letting out a resigned sigh. All right, I'll give you one for now. In the future, when I cultivate new second-tier human snakes, I will provide them to you first. Thank you, Elder Lu. Song Wen cupped his hands in gratitude. Then, Song Wen pointed to the human snake that had been severed in two and asked, How long will it take for this human snake to recover? Lu Jiang replied, It was injured by a golden core cultivator's sword energy. Although it managed to survive, it will likely take a considerable amount of time to reconnect its severed limbs. Then I will trouble you, Elder Lu. With only one human snake in hand, Song Wen felt a sudden sense of relaxation. This allowed him more time to focus on cultivation and practicing alchemy. The refinement of the blood spirit pill became increasingly proficient, and he did not neglect the practice of the 10,000 poisons body technique. Zhou Si disappeared for a while and only reappeared in the human snake cave after a month. She came to resign from her position. Zhou Si had no interest in refining the human snake mystic chi. Before, she had been forced to stay in the human snake cave by Zhou Xuelin. However, she did not leave the alchemy peak. Instead, she began working in the Xian pill room as an alchemist. Without Zhou Xuelin's constraints, Zhou Si became much more carefree. She no longer deliberately pretended to be someone detached. Instead, she became more stable and patient in her alchemy and cultivation. Song Wen also frequently visited the Xian pill room to practice alchemy, often encountering Zhou Si. Every time she saw Song Wen, Zhou Si seemed very happy. She would often seek out Song Wen to share insights on alchemy and discuss the challenges she encountered in her refining and cultivation. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, a year has passed. Now, Song Wen has 4 second-tier human snakes in his possession. The one that has undergone the most refinements has reached 10 times, and the human snake has once again fused. With mystic chi, one day, Song Wen entered the human snake cave and was surprised to see an unexpected figure. Elder Rong, you've come out of seclusion? Originally, Rong Jingjun had closed herself off to break through the bottleneck of the late foundation establishment stage, and Fang Peng had predicted that she would need at least 2 to 3 years. It has only been a little over a year, and she is already out. This breakthrough was very smooth. After advancing to the peak of the foundation establishment stage, I immediately came out, Rong Jingyun said. With her cultivation progressing, Rong Jingyun was in a good mood. Then congratulations. Elder Rong, you've taken another step closer to forming your golden core. Rong Jingyun smiled and said, I've just broken through to the peak of the foundation establishment stage. My cultivation is still not stable enough, so it's too early to talk about forming a golden core. Since your cultivation is still not stable, why is Elder Rong in such a hurry to come out? Song Wen asked, In 2 years, the Kanglin's secret realm will open, and I need to seize the time to prepare. As for stabilizing my cultivation, both can be done simultaneously without any delay, Rong Jingyun explained. The Kanglin's secret realm? Song Wen frowned and asked, Does Elder Wu not know about the Kanglin's secret realm? I've heard of it before. Rong Jingyun seemed somewhat surprised but quickly smiled in relief. It's not surprising that you haven't heard of the Kanglin's secret realm since you used to be a loose cultivator. Next, with Rong Jingyun's explanation, Songwen gained a general understanding of the Kanglin's secret realm. It is a secret realm jointly controlled by the 5 major Orthodox sects. Now that the 9 Palaces sect has rebelled against the Orthodox sect, they have been stripped of the qualification to enter the secret realm. Inside the Kanglin secret realm, there are 2 renowned treasures, the 10,000-year spiritual liquid and the Yin-Yang blood weeping branch. The Yin-Yang blood weeping branch is a primary ingredient for refining golden cores. The 10,000-year spiritual liquid is formed by the gathering of heavenly and earthly spiritual energy, somewhat similar to spirit stones. But it can quickly provide a large amount of spiritual energy for cultivators and is much easier to absorb than spirit stones, as it can be consumed directly. Elder Rong, are you preparing for forming your golden core? Songwen asked. The Kanglin's secret realm only opens once every 50 years. Now that I've just advanced to the peak of the foundation establishment stage, I want to go in and take a look, Rong Jingyun said. Is there a cultivation level restriction for entering the Kanglin's secret realm? Songwen asked. As long as one's cultivation is below the golden core stage, they can enter. Our sect only allows foundation establishment cultivators to enter, Rong Jingyun replied. Is there a limit on the number of people who can enter the Kanglin's secret realm each time? Songwen asked. Not really. The Kanglin's secret realm is fraught with dangers and there aren't many people who enter each time. In previous openings, generally only a few dozen people would enter, Rong Jingyun explained. Then, Rong Jingyun asked in return, Elder Wu, why are you inquiring about this so thoroughly? Are you planning to enter the Kanglin's secret realm? Songwen smiled sheepishly. The Kanglin's secret realm has the spirit herbs needed for forming a golden core, which is something I long for. However, with my current cultivation, entering the Kanglin's secret realm might be dangerous. Asking a few more questions is merely to satisfy my curiosity. Rong Jingyun replied, the path of cultivation is long and difficult. There are no shortcuts. Elder Wu is still young and doesn't need to rush. Be patient in your training, and your cultivation will naturally improve. Thank you for your guidance, Elder Rong. Songwen clasped his hands in gratitude. Author's note: Josie's ending does not align with the outline. Within the established context, she is a tragic character. There was foreshadowing earlier. She was framed and died because of it, and her death serves to highlight the villainy of the one who plotted against her and the cruelty of the cultivation world. I've discovered while writing that if I follow the original plan, the plot will appear unreasonable and make Josie seem foolish, so, starting from the previous few chapters, the content slightly deviated from the outline. Her ending was influenced somewhat by readers. After all, some have indicated they wouldn't support me if I didn't give her a better fate. I'm quite anxious about this, so I ask everyone for their continued support. Thank you. Chapter 310. After bidding farewell to Rong Jingyun, Songwen developed a strong interest in the Kanglin secret realm. He flew to the scripture depository located at the main peak of the Beastmaster sect. Inside the scripture depository, there were vast amounts of books like an ocean, most of which did not involve spells or secret techniques, but rather recorded some common knowledge or rumors from the cultivation world. Songwen found a book detailing the Kanglin secret realm in the scripture depository. The Kanglin secret realm is located in a subspace, originating from a large force that vanished long ago in the river of time. Every 50 years, the entrance to the Kanglin secret realm automatically opens once, lasting for a month. This is the only opportunity for people from the Tianyuan realm to enter and exit the Kanglin secret realm. The Kanglin secret realm is vast, and most of the spiritual herbs and treasures are concentrated within a towering peak. This peak covers an area of 1,000 mu and stands at over 10,000 feet tall. There are no human beings living and reproducing inside the secret realm, but a large number of monster beasts reside there. Only cultivators below the golden core stage are allowed to enter the Kanglin secret realm. However, this does not mean that only foundation establishment experts can enter. According to the cultivators who entered the secret realm last time, there are 2 golden core stage monster beasts lurking inside. One is a white tiger with wings that occupies the summit of the peak. The other is a several Zhonglong crocodile dragon lurking in the lake at the foot of the mountain. These two monsters are not entities that can be easily provoked inside the mountain. There are palaces left by an ancient force, where the 10,000-year spiritual liquid is born in one of the palaces. The Yin-Yang blood-weeping branch grows alongside the underground dark river, with an uncertain number and location, requiring luck to find. There are many other spiritual herbs growing on the mountain's belly and body. These spiritual herbs are also objects that cultivators compete for. 8 months later, Song 1 was in his cave dwelling, refining the human snake's mystic chi. This human snake is the one that has undergone the most refinements, having been refined 16 times, and Song 1 was conducting the 17th refinement. Suddenly, Song Wen's expression changed slightly. After a brief moment of astonishment, the hand gestures he used for the spell changed abruptly, forcibly retracting the corpse energy he had attempted to forcefully refine into the human snake's body. Earlier, Song Wen noticed that the life force of the human snake had sharply declined, which forced him to halt the refinement. This was Song Wen's first encounter with the failure of refining the human snake's mystic chi. After numerous refinements, the corpse energy on the human snake had become increasingly dense, seemingly approaching a critical point, making the refinement process more difficult. This made Song Wen extremely cautious during the refinement, fearing that a moment of carelessness would result in the human snake's death, rendering all previous efforts wasted. Within the chest of the human snake, there is a special energy cavity, similar to a human's dantian, which is a place for storing spiritual power. This energy cavity is also the source of the mystic chi. Once generated, the mystic chi gradually spreads to other parts of the human snake's body. The mystic chi in this human snake has filled most of its body, with only a small portion of its tail not yet covered. It is not far from the point where the mystic chi fully envelopes the body. Given the human snake's weak life force, it definitely cannot continue to be refined. Song Wen left the cave dwelling and went to the human snake cave, where he found Lu Jiang. Elder Lu, I have a request for assistance. The human snake's body has been overwhelmed by too much corpse energy, leading to its weak vitality. Is there a way to enhance the human snake's life force without weakening the corpse energy? Lu Jiang frowned, thought for a moment, and said, "This request is somewhat difficult. Corpse energy and life force are fundamentally incompatible. If the physical body is fused with too much corpse energy, it will inevitably lead to a loss of vitality." Song Wen said, "Is there really no way to solve this? That human snake only has 2/3 of its tail left, yet it can already reach the point of full mystic chi. If the human snake dies now, it would be a total loss, wasting all previous efforts." Lu Jiang shook his head. "I can't think of any effective methods, but we can ask Elder Rong and sect leader Fong. They might have some elixirs that can stimulate the human snake's life force." Song Wen nodded, taking out the communication jade slips for Fong Pingyi and Rong Jingyun, and sent out requests for help. Moments later, Rong Jingyun and Fong Pingyi arrived at the human snake cave. After Song Wen briefly explained the situation, the four of them headed to Song Wen's cave dwelling together. Upon inspecting the human snake's condition, Rong Jingyun said, "Elder Wu, you truly have extraordinary talent in corpse refinement. In just a short time, the human snake has integrated such a dense mystic chi." Song Wen replied, "Elder Rong, you flatter me. My corpse refinement skills are still lacking. Otherwise, the human snake wouldn't be in such a weakened state." Fong Pingyi chimed in, "This matter has nothing to do with your refinement skills. This human snake is only at the mid-level of the 5th stage. Even if the life force of the snake is strong, it can only bear a limited amount of corpse energy. If you had a stronger human snake, perhaps you could successfully reach the full mystic chi." The cultivation of the human snake was entirely Lu Jiang's responsibility, he said. Reporting to the sect leader, once the human snake's strength progresses to the mid-level of the 5th stage, its growth becomes very slow. To cultivate a stronger human snake would likely take a considerable amount of time. Hearing this, Fong Pingyi frowned deeply. The matter of mystic chi was crucial to his ambition of ascending to the position of sect leader naturally. He hoped to allow the human snake's mystic chi to reach the point of full mystic chi as soon as possible. He examined the human snake again, murmuring, "Currently, The corpse energy in this human snake has reached its limit. To continue refining it with corpse energy, we must find a way to forcefully stimulate the human snake's life force. Lu Jiang asked, sect leader, is it possible to give the human snake a life-saving elixir to hold on to its last bit of vitality and forcefully complete the refinement? Fang Pingyi shook his head. The effect of the life-saving elixir lasts only half an hour, and it cannot be taken repeatedly in a short time. It would be impossible to complete the refinement in such a short period. The sect leader, perhaps we could try using the Ziyun mushroom. Rong Jingyun suddenly suggested. The Ziyun mushroom is a rare and precious third-tier healing herb known for its remarkable ability to stimulate a cultivator's life force. However, Ziyun mushrooms are scarce and expensive, making them difficult to obtain. Fang Pingyi's eyes lit up upon hearing this. The Ziyun mushroom. It might really be able to save the human snake's life. You three stay here for a while. I will go get it. With that, Fang Pingyi disappeared into the cave. In less than a quarter of an hour, Fang Pingyi returned to Song Wen's cave, bringing with him a jade box. Elder Wu, I just went to the medicine peak and exchanged for a Ziyun mushroom. After giving it to the human snake, you should immediately start the corpse refinement. The three of us will stand by to assist. If any accidents happen, we will act promptly to help. Seeing Song Wen nod in agreement, Fang Pingyi opened the 6-hexagram demon-locking array, drawing the human snake out from its pit. Then, he fed the Ziyun mushroom to the human snake. He also channeled his spiritual energy to help the human snake refine the Ziyun mushroom. In an instant, the life force of the human snake rapidly increased. Even the withered scales regained some luster. Elder Wu, hurry! Fang Pingyi urged Song Wen immediately sat cross-legged, channeling his spiritual power to draw the human snake into the corpse-raising coffin and began the refinement.